This is a course called Social Welfare for the BA program and presented by the Gelila International Seminary by candidate Dr. Dawit Asfaw. So we are going to proceed the discussion on chapter 2 as we started about the norm. Also the policies and the different moral, social identification of universal accepted values will be the welfare of the individual and also the society. So the social policy often involves explicit values conflicts, but most decisions are made within an accepted framework of moral values. These decisions are motivated by factors like self-interest, political convenience, and economic constraints. All these are encompasses in the social norms of a society. So the effect of norm is subtle, as you see, you can see that, constraining decision-making and defining available options. So policies are unthinkable because to solve the problem in the society, we have to have some sort of policies under the common norms that is workable and it can be operated in the society. So this text actually emphasizes that the moral rights of children, the rights of the society's care, stating that any potential stunning or distortion of their development should be avoided. And policies like child care and also based on taken for granted view of society, impacting children's personal development and limiting their independence and responsibility. So in this regard, the argument is institutions fail to develop problems and any other problems and difficulties unless otherwise it has been dependent on the norms that is accepted by the society and individuals. So because of that, there are many policies has to be regulated, and also the policies of different groups has to be operated in the society. For example, there is policies for children's, there is also policies for women's. Policies for any elderly groups has to be written and it has to be thoughtfully, it has to be manifested and also works as a norm in a society. For instance, policies for women. This is one of the social services that focuses on for women. Social services often reinforce social norms such as emphasis on the tradition of women in the society policy and education system, stereotype gender roles. So we can't neglect the women's, what is they contribute in the society. So policies has to focus also on the women. For example, in social services fail to challenge these norms, they reflect society and complement particularly view of women's role. So always women's role are very much neglected in the society because of the norms, and also the policies are neglecting this group of the society. Women are very important in the social system, so women should not be forgotten their contributions, because many of the society think that assumes the social security assumes women are dependent on husbands, with a Beveridge report 1942 establishing a special class of contributions for married women. However, some benefits contain discriminatory provisions such as invalid care allowance and non-contributory invalidity pension. So in most societies that women are neglected their social security always, based on their husband. Those who have no husband and those who have no children always neglected by the society. So the norms cannot be able to work as a policy that when you are going to implement it in this way. So these provisions, for example, the allowances and also pensions and also healthcare activities and any social services related to women are very limited. And also sometimes it is very denied, married women or unmarried women. So that social security policy has a cohabitation rule where a woman living in a man and having a sexual relation is assumed to rely on him financially. So because of that, women are considered under their husband if they have an husband. Otherwise, they are very neglected to support them as a policy by the government or by the social factors, or by the volunteers, NGOs, and all these are neglecting the women's side of the contribution, which plays a big role for the country and also for socially wherever they are. So women has to be focused on the one of the welfare being that has two mothers and also sisters, and also women has to be encouraged by their what is contributed for the society. They have to focus on every social welfare activities and social services, because they are very contributors for the building of the society. They are taking care of the children, and they are taking care of the husband, and also they are take care of the society at where the place they are living, at household level, at also different places. So because of that, the problem of the social services not focusing on the women's creates a big dilemmas and problems, because the women are very financially dependent on their husband and dependent on their families. So strong moral codes has to be provided to women that support their circumstances and their problems. Unless otherwise, that as you can see that the feminist arguments that have now come, because of that, women are neglected. So feminism is the output of the neglection of the main part of the society, that is women. So the moral rejection of the women creates a big problem in the society, because social norms are reinforced by defining different boundaries, different societal boundaries, prompting moral judgments and defining limits of unacceptable behaviors. So when we call that, moral rejection, it is unacceptable behavior has been, grown in the society. So because of that, there are many deviances created, breaking rules, simply being different or rejected. Theories of deviance often focuses on criminality, welfare provision, and aspects related to welfare receipt, highlighting the importance of boundaries in societal behavior. So the concept of deviance is dichotomous, with people falling on one side of the border. The poor law principles of less eligibility aim to maintain a distinction between welfare recipients and those who do not. So the doctrine of pauperism, also rooted in economic beliefs, and Ricardo Iron law of wages, emphasized that independent labor's poor conditions made them less eligible for social security. So according to the different researchers distinguishes primary deviant from secondary deviant based on the level of attached to deviance. Labeling theory argues that people are deviant because they are defined as deviant by society, not by individual behavior. And Baker also argues that social groups create rules defining deviance, not by individual deviance. Labeling theory suggests that social services may label individuals as deviant, such as mentally ill or problem family, due to their negative effects on recipients. Philip, 1996, found that normal individuals who visited a psychiatrist or psychiatric hospital were more likely to be rejected. However, the label's importance should not be overwhelmed, as the behavior of mentally ill people is main factor leading social rejection. So due to that, welfare recept can be seen as evidence of moral deficiencies, with certain recipients being pathologically immoral. Therefore, when we conclude that social values are inconsistent and welfare recipients are caught between conflicting social codes, social workers' professional code is not be judgmental but not rejected people on moralistic grounds. However, the treatment of social service recipients as deviant is more complex, as welfare norms may establish expectations about claimant types and service types. Distinguishing between deserving and understanding poor is a fundamental part of welfare provision. So, as the author advises, labeling families as problem families and suggests that sometimes families may be moved from better post-war housing to less desirable one to promote better accommodations. However, this assumes they have some choice about their circumstance. So that's why we have to see thoroughly, and also we have to see deep the norms of the society and the values of the society. And also it has to be, social services has to be encompasses with the social norms and the social values of the community in order to secure the welfare of the society. So I'm going to proceed to very in a rush, chapter 3, altruism, exchange, and stigma. Moral behavior can be altruistic, focusing on concern for others, but also involves norms, reciprocity, and rejection. So stigma includes physical, mental, moral, and poverty. Stigmas can affect ideals of an altruistic society. Moral principles include duties to give others, such as indebtedness, commitment, and reparations. These duties are specific to particular context and are general, such as giving a charity or meeting basic needs. So the ambivalence of the social work toward this religion. Tatimus, at the time of that social welfare studies, emphasized that ultra obligations, moral principles, and welfare model of united society. He believed a good society relied on social market rather than economic market. So with unilateral transfers being distinguishing marks. So the social market refers to non-economic relationship between individuals. As you said that, social market is related with individuals, families, groups, and communities, promoting altruism and concern for others. The author criticizes, this module's author criticizes the uncritical view of religious organizations' significant role in welfare services. Religious institutions also plays a great role in the welfare services, that arguing that the relationship between social work practice and religious is often ambivalent and hostile, because both institutions' relationships have its own characteristics and also meaning of life. So the provision of welfare does not depend exclusively on altruism. It is also a question of social organization. Surgeon in 1980 points out that the case of National Health Service, for example, is a form of rational collective action, not a replacement of private provision by surfeit of goodwill. Therefore, altruism can be unaided be rather haphazard way to provide services. This is a little link between the extent of need, willingness of people donate. For example, there are 10 times as many deaf people in Britain as blind. They get only 7th of the cash. And the former director of mine, the National Association, complained because of their attention to the blind people and also for the deaf people are very different. So this shows that the altruism of the interconnection of the families, the individuals, and also the groups, the communities creates a stigma among themselves. So that's why stigma includes physical, mental, and poverty. As you say that, unless the solution has been made equally for mental and also, for mental, blind also, and also deaf group of the society. So we have to focus on these groups as it is. So this is presented by Gelila International Seminary, and the course called Social Welfare, the BA program, and also discussed by candidate Dr. Dawit Asfaw. So the psychological literatures on this basis explains why people give with biological explanations like instinctive altruism and emotional bonding. Psychological explanations include sympathy, empathy, and projecting feelings. So some of the researchers have suggested that volunteers have a positive view of fellow humans' religious commitment and less emphasis on material aspects. So helping behavior may be learned conditional response influenced by social norms and sense of duty. Social motives include benefits, and also solidarity, emphasizing identification of fraternity with deprived individuals. That's why the researchers also donate different donations for the society according to what is identified by the social services. So the other one is reciprocity. That is, reciprocity means being collectively, having the society have the common good, they work together, and also they come together to secure their welfare. This includes exchange of different returns, and also it goes one to another, support each other. So this is helping having a social norms and also welfare by having their contribution from the society. So the reciprocity together. The norm of reciprocity justifies a collective view of moral responsibility together by the society or by individuals come together, which relies on social rules rather than individual decisions. So always they come together and take the moral responsibility of the social services to help each other collectively. Example include as responsibility, old peoples come together, they come together and take the responsibility, doing something to secure their welfare, social welfare. So in that way, peoples are get together and become reciprocity to have their own social welfare. As we can see, because of this interaction, there is also, we have to see that about the stigma. It is an issue of arising from dependency on welfare is a significant factor in welfare provision. It can refer to an attribute of the stigmatized person, which can be failing, handicap, or shameful different. The stigma also can be result from the attitudes of the others, because there are some groups of peoples are undermining the other part of the people, and groups, maybe families, are being undermined by rejected groups. So stigma can be resulted from rejection, and also some of them have come through the loss of esteem and discrimination. So it is a special relationship between attribute and stereotype. So because of that, the stigmatized society will leave the society being by stigmatized because of the rejection. So stigma can be a result of personal characteristics and also feelings or ignorance about benefits. So this is, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy and reluctance to claim or claim benefits. So some sort of the societies are stigmatized and also discriminated. Because of that, they are not able to ask or claim benefits from the society or from the government, from any sort of institutions. So because of that, stigma is one of the areas that the social services has to focus on in these areas. So you can read from your module about the stigma because of the reasons why the peoples are neglected, rejected, and also discriminate because of their physical or mental or spiritual reasons. So stigma is a complex concept involving attributes to stigmatized individuals because of their feelings and attitudes of the others. So it can be categorized into physical, mental, poverty, dependency, and moral stigmas. So when you read about the stigma, there are many reasons that peoples are categorized under this discrimination. So because of that, they are also losing their claim from the society, any benefits from the government, any benefits from the nation. They are susceptible to many problems. That's why there are many those who have physical limitations and mental limitations is related to health issues. So because of their appearances, maybe because of their physical deformities, because of their homelessness, and because of their low income, and because of their unemployment, stigmatization can be contributed for the poor and poverty situations of the people. So we have to, as a social welfare service giver, we have to think about these peoples who have segregated and also discriminated from the society. So chapter 4 is, I'm continuing with the chapter 4. It is about freedom. And also when we think about the welfare being of a society or an individual, we are also talking and focusing on freedom. The concept of freedom involves a person's freedom from restraint, positive freedom, and psychological freedom. Individual freedom depends on rational, autonomous actors, while social freedom considers relationships. So when we talk about the freedom, we have covering some of the points like paternalism may breach individual freedom, but may be justified or increased power. Personal freedoms is a primary social value and welfare interest encompassing three main concepts. The other one is negative freedom, refers to the absence of coercion, which is deliberate interference of others within one's area of freedom. So this freedom is limited when people are interfered with, such as by social workers or schooling. So when you go to some of the social workers or as a freedom, you can see paternalism and also negative freedom. As there is a negative freedom in the society, there is also positive freedom. That is freedom on the other hand, the power and access to choice, implying the capacity to act. They do have their own, power to do something. So this is a positive freedom. A severely handicapped boy alone lives in an institution is free in the negative sense, but not in the positive sense. So somebody is, putting in somewhere as neglecting. For example, this guy is putting in one of the institution, because of his disability, he put it somewhere. This is for the protection and also giving a benefit from the institution part of it. But from his part of it, he has a problem with his spirituality and physically. So his manifestation of the freedom is considered as a negative for him and positive for the institution. So this has to be psychological freedom brings together as a benefit for the society. So the society welfare being is based on the person's, how it is involved and how interferes and also interprets the way he is living and the way he is contributing to the society. So that's why we have to see that, freedom also has different meanings. One is paternalism freedom, the other one is the negative freedom, the other one is positive freedom, and also has psychological freedom. Some of the implies ability to choose. Psychological freedom is a positive freedom are distinct concepts. Psychological freedom allows individuals to make choices, unlike positive freedom, which is restricted the ability to act. So all this has to be known by the social services and by social service institutions, that whether a person or an individual or a society has psychological freedom or has a positive freedom or has a negative freedom. It has to be identified very well to cope with the problem and also to give the right solution and the right direction for this. So sometimes there are brilliant students or brilliant individuals might considered as segregated and stigmatized by the society without knowing that his freedom. So this is the area that we about it. So there is also individual and social concepts of freedom. As you know that the society is developed from the individuals and social concepts of freedom has also its own reflection of different views. This is presented by the Gelila International Seminary and the course called Social Welfare, and also discussed by candidate Dr. Dawit Asfaw. So individual and social concepts of freedom, this is a big debate, reflects different views on the importance of the choice and individuals in the society. Individual freedom is based on an autonomy, allowing individuals to make their own decision and act without restriction. So it includes negative, positive, and psychological freedom. So as individuals have their own individual negative freedom, as they do have positive and psychological freedom, the society has also have a social concepts of freedom. So the social model of freedom emphasizes the importance of individual freedom and autonomy over welfare. Interventions are justified for an individual's own good if they help people become more autonomous. So the social model freedom emphasizes the individual's own good if they help it become more autonomous. The more autonomous individuals, the more autonomous social freedoms. Freedom is always relative to power, and both freedom and welfare are defined in social terms. So because of that, social and individual self may raise and also having a conflict between individual interest of conflict and also social interest of conflict. Because of that, there will be a difference, increased a difference in power, money, and also other areas of autonomy. So when you talk about this one as well, we have to think about the self-determination in social work. Social work influenced by 19th century Christian beliefs emphasize that individual freedom and moral constraints. It emphasizes moral responsibility and choice. So with moral freedom being power acts morally. So because of that, this concept implies self-mystery, but requires making the right decision for true freedom. So social work shares a concept in welfare provision. This is called self-determination. Self-determination is a key aspect of social workers' code of ethics, allowing clients to decide whether to accept their social work advice. So this self-determination is closely linked with individual freedom, as individuals cannot be compelled to do or forbid due to personal reasons, happiness or other opinions. To justify deterring behavior, it must be calculated to produce evil to someone else, as stated by one of the researchers in 1859. So the principles of self-determination suggest that personal freedom should not be interfered with and non-directive counsels. So if it is interfered, self-determination could be stopped, and also peoples might defeat from their roles of their contribution towards the society and the communities. So a social worker is not allowed to offer advice, but rather to help individuals understand their feelings, express desires, and create their own plans. So self-determination allows to individuals to decide by themselves. So self-determination is based on individual freedom, which views individual or rational autonomous actors. So you can see about all these terms that about social welfare, you can read from your main modules. So I'm going to through the chapter 5. As you can see, chapter 4 that we focuses on freedom. Also chapter 5, we are going to focus on rights. What do we mean by the individual rights, and also what do we mean by the society? So this is presented by Gelila International Seminary, and the course called Social Welfare, and also discussed by candidate Dr. Dawit Asfaw. So when you talk about this in the society welfare and also individuals welfare, also we have also talking about the rights, people rights, human rights. All this has been also emphasized as significant roles in the life of individuals and also in the society. So we have to understand somebody's life, and also individual's life and society's life in terms of wedding, in terms of funerals, and also what is the connection between the society's religion and also what is the activities in the society give potential issues for themselves. So when we talk about rights, individuals have its own right, and also society has its own rights. So, for example, they provide an example of Jewish funeral service, which non-Jewish individuals can connect with the pain of bereavement and loss, highlighting the universality of the experiences. For example, the rites and the rituals, the funerals and the weddings, all are crucial for the communities. So to strengthen and express spirituality, connecting people to the past and allowing them to express emotions like joy, grief, and pain. So because of that, citizenship is a basis for the person, rights to the society. Rights are positive when they are enforced. And much of the values of rights they are require people to behave in certain ways in order to increase social welfare. Rights like moral govern social the relationships and affects others. So rights are the main areas of the society and also the individuals. So powers allow people to do things cannot, such as driving licenses or running private nurses' homes. Rights, including freedom, powers, and immunity, are often ambiguous in the other scope, powers and duties. Two common ways to describe rights work are the will of power and will or freedom theory. So the will of theory is challenged when a child has a right education but no choice in attending a school. This is one of the examples that how peoples are challenged by the rights of the children, the rights of by the families. So, and this suggests that rights maybe need to be earned through reciprocity rather than solely based on moral obligations. So we have to be focused on how we implement the individuals and the society rights in distinct way, because it advocates and analyzes entirely the society. So the basis of the rights are strong claims that fall into two main classes: moral rights and positive rights. So moral rights are moral claims or justifications for actions, while positive rights are legally enforceable. Moral rights can be particular or general within the particular rights of specific to an individual, and general rights applicable to everyone. So there is also, as there is moral rights and positive rights, there is also natural rights, also known as human rights. Human rights have their own natural rights that is exist by virtue of an individual's natures and are essential for dignity and personal development. Examples include the rights of life, because the right to life. This is a human rights that is naturally given. It's not inherited from the society, or it is not inherited from somebody or some institution. Naturally, they have given to live in this world. This is a natural rights that being exercised by human being. So this has to be respected with dignity, and this also goes with the personal development. So you can see in these natural rights, you can see women's rights, children's rights, citizenship rights, and also the welfare rights is also is connected, all these rights. So you have to be focused on the rights that in order to secure the welfare of the individual and the welfare of the society. So I'm finished with the part one. That is, as you can see that part one is about all these points, part one, because we have discussed part one, individual and social welfare. That is all about chapter 1, welfare, chapter 2, social norm, chapter 3, altruism, exchange and stigma, chapter 4, freedom, and chapter 5, rights. We have discussed these all as a part of part 1, individual and social welfare. Thank you very much for your listening me, and also you more to get the information, you will read the module and the book that the institution given to you. Thank you very much.